Hi, welcome to the Crest Network. This is a series of 4 parts on sales prospecting the right way. Sales prospecting the right way is the overall name for the series, but this particular segment is specifically on time management for you as a salesperson, speaking the client's language, selling to the values that matter to the client, selling results and not be caught up in selling stuff or selling things or selling products or selling services. It's about selling results. And then we want to talk briefly about selling change. The fact of the matter is nobody likes change, but we're going to talk about ways that you can help get them to make the change that you need them to make. In time management, prospecting must be a daily habit. Something you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every single day. And every single day you ought to spend more or less an hour every day focusing on prospecting, finding candidates to put into that top of that sales funnel. You should also be spending an hour a day doing research and homework and learning about those prospects. If you do, you will have a warm prospect when you finally call on them rather than a cold prospect. Warm prospects are a whole lot easier to sell to. A true sales position as a salesperson in your company, as a marketer in your company, you need to be spending 50 hours a week. If you want to be an ultra-high sales professional, you're going to need to spend 50 hours a week. Speaking their language, I'm not going to go into in this segment the different language terminologies of all the different verticals out there. We already know that in our industry, terminologies or lingos like dehues and air movers and air scrubbers and psychrometric charts and psychrometry is a lingo within our industry. But not every single employee in your organization uses that terminology. So an engineer in the maintenance department isn't going to have the same lingo as the general manager of the hotel. The vice president versus the regional manager of a nursing home, they're not going to have the same terminologies, the same language, the same lingo. Not on everything. Some things will overlap, but not everything. An owner versus a director or versus an administrator, they're always going to have slightly different terminologies. So as important as it is to know how to speak the language of a particular industry, it's also important to know how to speak the language of a specific position within a particular industry or company. Every position, every employee, every title has different interests, has different needs and expectations. Everybody in those different roles uses different terminology or different language. And every single position within that company is motivated differently. And you need to sell to their values. Those values, I'm gonna simplify it to 3 simple points. There are 3 different factors. Number 1, value. There must be real value to both you and your potential customer. Whatever takes place, whatever needs to be done, needs to be actionable for both parties. things that you need to do to follow through and things that your prospect needs to do to follow through. And then time, I'm not talking about the time of day. I'm not talking about the length of time. I'm talking specifically about the day and the hour, or the date, the day and the hour, when you're going to have the next meeting or the next phone call or the next follow-up. You can't leave it hanging. Successful salespeople never end their sales meeting without clarifying and identifying when and what the next steps are going to be. And I don't mean the next steps, okay, I'll touch base with you in about 2 weeks. That is not clearly identifying the day, the date, and the hour. Selling results as opposed to selling stuff. When you sell stuff, you will typically start your sentences with, we can help you, blah, blah, blah. We now offer yada, yada, yada. We have a unique whatever. I need to tell you about. We are better than I, and my, and me. When you start your sales presentation, or you have sentences within your presentation that start like I've just outlined these, you're selling stuff. When you're selling results, you start your sentences with, what you just heard was, you said that you'd like to, have you ever thought about, have you considered, how would you like to, when would you like to implement the prep program? That's selling results. This is selling stuff. You don't want to be selling stuff. And selling change is a big challenge. People and companies within, or the people within those companies, absolutely need to make a change in order to embrace whatever it is you're selling. The bummer part about this is that those very same companies and people hate to change. Nobody likes to change. Our human nature is such that the vast majority of us don't like to change. We have a routine, we're comfortable with it. If we didn't like the routine or we weren't comfortable with it, we would have already changed. And so with every prospect that we call on, they have a current way of doing things, and very likely they're happy with it. As I said, otherwise they would have already changed. Folks, what was good enough to get us where we are today is not going to be good enough to get us where we need to go. And where I hope you want to go is to become an ultra-high sales performer. Now, the next slide here, practice is just as valuable as an actual sale. Yeah, nobody likes role playing. Nobody. For the past decade, I have been doing role playing every few weeks with my clients in classes. And the salespeople and the marketers don't like it. They squirm. They're uncomfortable. They get embarrassed. Their face turns beet red. They beg off. They find reasons to leave the room. Well, practice is just as valuable as the actual sale. If you can't practice and get perfect at it, you aren't going to get good at making the actual sale. You see, the sale is going to make you a living when you can complete the sale, but the perfected skill will make you a fortune. The next segment is part 4 of a 4-part series. We're going to talk about your 30-second speech, and by golly, I'm going to do my best to get you to narrow that down to a 15-second speech. We're going to talk about the buying process. We're going to talk about transfer of ownership, and we're going to talk about the handling of no. So please continue to watch this series. Tune in to watch part 4 as well. I'm Dick Wagner with the Crest Network. Don't forget, as a Crest Elite member, you have personal access and coaching to me and to all of the other people in the Crest Network. Talk to you soon.